Good morning. Nightline begins now with me, Sabrina Zainal. News making the headlines. Moving ceiling price for food items to be introduced to strengthen food security. And government to conduct public survey on death sentence amendments. We begin with this story. The government will introduce a moving ceiling price for food items in a bid to strengthen food security. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the ceiling price will be adjusted based on changes in the price of various inputs in the supply chain. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the decision to introduce the moving ceiling price was reached at an Economic Action Council EAC meeting, which he chaired on Monday. He added that the country is looking to expand its agro-food ecosystem with supply chains led by government-linked companies, GLCs, government-linked investment companies, GLICs, and government agencies. The Prime Minister said this is to ensure that there is a guaranteed supply and that the quality, quantity and production of goods are being carried out at an optimal level. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri added that the EAC decided that cooperation between the federal and state governments should be enhanced in an effort to increase the area of land for agricultural use, thus reducing dependence on food imports. The EAC also agreed to focus on public-private partnerships that focus on modernization efforts, adapt better technology to increase agricultural yields, and ensure that farmers can easily find a market for their produce. Meanwhile, in the same statement, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said foreign worker interviews, which can only be conducted at the Human Resources Ministry's One-Stop Centre OSC in Putrajaya for now, will soon be expanded to other states. The matter was agreed upon during Monday's EAC meeting. He added that the government will strengthen the role of OSC by getting all ministries and agencies involved in the process of bringing in foreign workers into the country. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also announced that the government has agreed in principle to implement the Train and Place program for 1,000 engineers and technicians. The program is an effort by the government to resolve the severe shortage of skilled workers in the electric and electronic sector. The government cannot commute the sentences of those currently on death row. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Parliament and Law, Datuk Seri Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, said this is because amendments to the relevant laws have yet to be finalised. He said the government will conduct a public survey on the amendments before a first reading of the relevant bills in the Dewan Rakyat in October, adding that he was confident the revisions would be implemented by January at the latest.
Kita boleh menyelesaikan persoalan pindaan dulu dan bentangkan pindaan melaksanakan apa yang Jemaah Menteri dah putus untuk menghapuskan mandatory death sentence pada bulan September bulan Oktober nanti, dan finally buat Dewan Negara akan bincang dia bulan Disember. Dan insyaAllah by Januari, Februari kita dah ada undang-undang tu dimasukkan secara realiti menerusi undang-undang. Makna dia dilema ataupun serba salah kita tu akan diatasi berhubung dengan kes di mahkamah, kes yang nak dituduh semula dan sebagainya tu, kita dah dapat atasi pada ketika itu.
He also stressed that any cases in court or cases that need to be retried can go ahead and the government will not interfere in any investigations or cases. Datuk Seri Wan Junaidi said the government plans to gather public feedback before tabling the proposed abolition in Parliament. He said the government welcomes anyone who wants to respond to its proposal on this topic, whether it be through the press or social media. The Education Ministry, MOE, is doing all it can to solve the problem of Sabah's 23 Sekolah Tumpang, which refers to a secondary school inhabiting the same space as a primary school. Senior Education Minister Dr. Radzi Jidin said that 20 schools have received a 706 million ringgit allocation to erect a building, while efforts to find funds for 3 more schools are continuing. According to Dr. Radzi, Sabah has more sekolah tumpang than any other place, which was an infrastructure challenge for the MOE. He also said that the ministry will focus on schools that were not finished on schedule to ensure that the students will get a first-rate learning facility. Dr. Radzi told this to reporters after officiating the new Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan SMK Libaran building on Monday. The school, which has 597 pupils and was one of the 23 sekolah tumpang in Sabah, had coexisted with Sekolah Kebangsaan Sungai Padas, a primary school 3 kilometers away, for over 22 years. Located 25 kilometers from Sandakan, SMK Libaran will start welcoming students from Forms 1 to 5 on July 1st. In the meantime, the Health Ministry MOH has taken several temporary solutions to overcome the medicine supply shortage at private clinics and hospitals, as well as community pharmacies in the country. Its Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said among the measures is allowing private health facilities to apply for a loan of medicine supply from other private health facilities or the nearest government health facility. In a statement on Monday, Khairi also said, if necessary, patients could be referred to the nearest government health facility to continue treatment. However, the patient may need to change the medication regimen based on the availability at the said facility. He added that patients can also buy the medicines from community pharmacies with a prescription from the clinic or private hospital involved. The MOH hoped that these measures can provide a temporary solution to the medicine supply shortage at private health facilities to ensure the continuity of quality health services to the people. At the same time, the ministry had started sharing information on the list of medicines with supply shortage issues and alternative product recommendations for these medicines with private medical practitioners, private hospitals and community pharmacies. This measure was implemented to reduce the impact on the current situation and the optimal use of other generic drugs as alternatives, which are still available in the market. Khairi also said the MOH is working on a long-term solution to address the issue, and continuous monitoring is being carried out to ensure the availability of medicines throughout Malaysia. Admission of COVID-19 patients to health facilities, hospitals and COVID-19 quarantine and treatment centers, PKRC, per 100,000 population dropped 10% for epidemiological week 23 from June 5th to 11th. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, however, said COVID-19 hospital admissions per 100,000 people have increased 20%. In a statement on Monday, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham said categories 1 and 2 patient admissions increased 33.3%, while categories 3, 4 and 5 admissions increased 9%. The Health DG said COVID-19 bed utilization rates also increased compared to week 22. Non-critical bed utilization rates increased 8%, ICU beds decreased 17%, and PKRC bed utilization rates recorded a 200% jump. Cases that require ventilator support reduced by 20%. He said cases being monitored by the COVID-19 Assessment Centers, CAC, were on a downward trend. The total number of COVID-19 patients at physical CACs reduced 8.7% from 3,704 in week 22 to 3,383 in week 23. But cases that CACs referred to PKRCs or hospitals increased 51.9% from 81 to 123 cases. Cases being monitored by virtual CACs were on an upward trend and increased 6% from 20,363 cases to 21,591. In Pulau Pinang, police have busted an international drug trafficking syndicate after arresting 8 men, including 2 Thai nationals. In the raid, 840 kilograms of cannabis worth 2.12 million ringgit were seized. Federal Narcotics CID Director Dato' Ayub Khan Maidin Piche said the arrests and drug haul were made by officers from the state and federal police headquarters in 2 raids last Friday and Saturday. The drug seizure was described as the biggest in Pulau Pinang this year. The syndicate had been operating since the end of last year. Police also sealed 3 vehicles, including a lorry worth 80,000 ringgit. The 8 suspects have been remanded for 7 days until June 18th for investigation. Indian officials demolish homes of Muslims amid protest. News from the foreign front when we return. With news from the foreign front. In India, authorities in Uttar Pradesh state have demolished the homes of several people accused of involvement in protests last week, triggered by derogatory remarks made by ruling party figures about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. According to Bharatiya Janata Party's state spokesperson, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh State, Yogi Adityanath, has ordered officials to demolish any illegal establishments and homes of people accused of involvement in the rally. Following the order, the house of a politician named Javed Ahmed, who has been accused of planning the protests, was demolished amid a heavy police presence on Sunday. An official from the Prayagraj Development Authority, which demolished Ahmed's house, stated that it had issued a notice to him in May, asking him to appear before them. Ahmed, however, has denied the statement, saying the family was only informed when a notice was stuck to their door on Saturday. It was reported that another 2 properties belonging to people accused of throwing stones after Friday prayers were also demolished. The incident is not the first time Uttar Pradesh and some other BJP-ruled states have been accused of using demolitions to target alleged protesters in the aftermath of communal violence. In the meantime, the leader of India's Congress Party, Rahul Gandhi, has appeared before a government agency on Monday following a fresh summon issued by the Enforcement Directorate, ED, in connection with corruption allegations in the National Herald case. In the same case, the ED has also summoned Rahul Gandhi's mother, Sonia Gandhi, who is the president of Indian National Congress, on June 23rd. The case was brought in 2012 by Subramaniam Swamy, a politician from India's governing BJP, who accuses the duo of misusing party funds to buy a firm that published the now-defunct National Herald newspaper. Swamy had filed a private complaint in a court in Delhi on November 1st, 2012, stating that Sonia and Rahul Gandhi had committed fraud and land grabbing worth thousands of crores. The Gandhis, however, have denied any financial impropriety. Moving on, authorities in China's capital, Beijing, on Monday raced to contain a COVID-19 outbreak traced to a raucous 24-hour bar known for cheap liquor and big crowds, with millions facing mandatory testing and thousands under targeted lockdowns. The outbreak of nearly 200 cases are linked to the city center Heaven supermarket bar, which had just reopened as curbs in Beijing eased last week. It was reported that about 10,000 close contacts of the bar's patrons have been identified and their residential buildings put under lockdown, and some planned school reopenings in the district have been postponed. China is only just shaking off a heavy blow from a 2-month lockdown of Shanghai, its most populous city and commercial nerve center that also roiled global supply chains. Now, over in Indonesia, tens of thousands of people filled streets in the city of Bandung on Monday to mourn a governor's son who was found dead in a Swiss river last week after a search that captivated Indonesia. Massive crowds have gathered to bid farewell to the eldest son of Indonesia's West Java province, Governor Ridwan Kamil, Emirul Khan Mumtaz, ahead of the burial in Bandung, while cabinet ministers have paid their respects during the arrival of Eril's body in Jakarta before the funeral. Indonesian President Joko Widodo also said he had contacted the governor to pay his deepest condolences. 22-year-old Emirul, or Eril, disappeared in the Swiss capital, Burns Aare River, on May 26th while swimming with his sister and friends. The Swiss authorities have retrieved his body from a dam after a 12-day search and repatriated it to Indonesia on Sunday. Sports now, football. Erling Haaland has come home. The Norway forward finalized his move to Manchester City from Borussia Dortmund for $63 million on Monday to seal his return to England, the country of his birth.
I've been a City fan my whole life. I know a lot about the club. I think in the end, two things. I feel a bit home here, I think. And also, I think I can develop and get the best out of my game in City.
Holland, regarded as one of the world's top young players along with Kylian Mbappe, is joining on a 5-year deal. City activated the release clause in Holland's Dortmund contract and looks to be getting a superstar on the cheap. Holland has scored 20 goals in 21 appearances for Norway and netted 86 goals in 89 games in 2.5 seasons with Dortmund. His father, Alf Inge, played for City in the Premier League from 2000 to 2003, and Arling supported the club as a kid. In the meantime, second-place Liverpool have agreed a deal with Benfica to sign forward Darwin Nunez for an initial fee of $75 million. With potential add-ons, the total cost of the transfer could rise to a club record $104 million. That fee would eclipse the $92 million the Anfield club paid for Virgil van Dijk in 2018. The 22-year-old, who was left out of Uruguay's squad for Saturday's 5-0 friendly victory over Panama, was expected to begin a medical on Monday, which could take 2 days to complete. He is set to sign a reported 6-year contract. Meanwhile, French champions Paris Saint-Germain have reached an agreement with Argentine coach Mauricio Pochettino to part ways. PSG have not confirmed the coach's exit yet, but it has been widely reported that he will depart with a year remaining on his contract in Paris. Former Real Madrid coach Zinedine Zidane, AS Roma coach Jose Mourinho, and Nice coach Christophe Galtier are reportedly the front-runners to replace Pochettino. Despite winning the 2021 Coupe de France and 2022 Ligue 1 title, Pochettino's failure to bring UEFA Champions League glory is thought to be the reason he is leaving the club.
Perjalanan berliku dalam mencipta kejutan. Kelayakan akhir Piala Asia 2023 hanya di TV9 dan Astro 149.
Still to come on Nightline, over 45 million ringgit transferred into former PM's personal account. Staying with us. The Kuala Lumpur High Court on Monday heard that over 45.8 million ringgit was transferred into Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak's AmBank personal account via Vista Equity International Partners Limited, based in Barbados, between October and December 2014. This was revealed by the 23rd prosecution witness during the former Prime Minister's trial over the misappropriation of 2.3 billion ringgit in funds from One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB. AmBank Malaysia Berhad's Treasury Operations Department Vice President Salmah Damanhuri, through her witness statement, said the funds were transferred into the former Prime Minister's account in 5 transactions. Vista Equity is a shell company owned and controlled by Eric Tan, a trusted associate of fugitive businessman Low Tek Joe or Joe Low. During cross-examination by Datuk Sri Najib's counsel, Wan Aizuddin Wan Muhammad, Salmah admitted that no red flag was raised by Bank Negara nor AmBank when the transactions took place. She further said that she was unaware that the account belonged to Datuk Sri Najib at the material time and she only knew about it during the investigation by authorities. When re-examined by Senior Deputy Public Prosecutor DPP Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram, the witness said usually the bank would send bank statements to customers at the end of the month to notify them the balance amount in their account. To another question by DPP Najwa Bistamam, the witness said Datuk Sri Najib never raised any reports against the said transactions to the bank. The trial before Judge Datuk Colin Lawrence Sequeira continues on Tuesday. A former Ultra Kirana Sindiran Berhad UKSB director told the Kuala Lumpur High Court on Monday that former Umno youth chief Khairi Jamaluddin was an indirect recipient of financial contributions the firm gave to the Rumbau division during the hearing of Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi's Foreign Visa System VLN corruption trial. Former UKSB Director Wan Kharis Shah Wan Abdul Ghani, who was also the prosecution's 16th witness, disclosed this during examination in chief. Wan Kharis Shah testified that amounts between 50,000 and 200,000 ringgit were given to Khairi through the Rumbau Umno division for official political, humanitarian and social purposes managed by the party. He affirmed in court of his close relationship with Khairi and further explained that the financial contributions were not personal, irregular and circumstantial. The trial before Judge Datuk Muhammad Yazid Mustafa continues. In other news, in Kelantan, a self-employed painter was sentenced to death by the Kota Bharu High Court for distributing 186.43 grams of methamphetamine 4 years ago. Now, Judge Datuk Wan Ahmad Farid Wan Saleh meted out the sentence on 49-year-old Sabri Hamzah after the defense failed to raise reasonable doubts at the end of the case. According to him, the court is bound by the existing law as the sentence is still not amended in Parliament. Sabri was charged with distributing methamphetamine behind an unnumbered house in Kampung Tasik Hulu in Rantau Panjang on January 31st, 2018. He was charged under the Dangerous Drugs Act, which provides for a death penalty upon conviction. Now, the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court was told on Monday that a teenager with Down syndrome known as Bella was forcibly fed a plate of fried rice with a large amount of chili by the founder of Rumah Bonda, Siti Bainun Ahmad Razali. The revelation was made by the 8th prosecution witness, Suhana Zam. She said the chopped chili was more than the fried rice that was to be given to the Down syndrome teenager. The witness also said that she saw bruises on Bella's face when she came to Rumah Bonda on June 13, 2021, after being invited by Siti Bainun to eat. Siti Bainun faces 2 counts of neglecting and abusing Bella, causing her to suffer physical and emotional injuries. The trial before Judge Israeli Zam Sanusi continues. That's all for Nightline this time around. Let's take a look at a traditional festival held in Mateus Lemi City, where horse riders reenacted a medieval battle between Moors and Christians. With that, I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for tuning in and stay safe.